We would first take up some of the question answers which you had asked during the sessions through that WhatsApp group. These are common FAQs, frequently asked questions. And first, we will answer all those FAQs, frequently asked questions. Then, after, we will open up the entire session, the entire forum for further discussion and further question answers. You can ask your questions verbally as well after completion of this presentation. So, we had received around 45 to 50 different questions, and we have divided all those questions into four parts: questions related with the sourcing, questions related with the reviewing, questions related with the articulating, and questions related with the manuscripting. So let us first start with questions which were related with sourcing. You had asked the questions by your own way, and we tried our level best not even to change the wordings of your questions. So there may be some grammatical error, there may be something shortly written and all. I request all the participants to please bear with us with those short wordings and grammatical error as well. We should understand the crux of the question, and I will answer those questions one by one. So these are some questions related to sourcing. The first question was how to get the full paper if it is not available in Google Scholar or ResearchGate. This is a public platform. I am not able to answer this question how to get the full paper because there are some pirated websites and some pirated platforms from where you can get those papers. But because it is a public platform, I'm not answering these questions. You can connect to me in person. I may be helpful to you. The second question was, while searching many reference linked, we are not able to get the full articles. This question is very similar to the first questions, and answer is same. It's a public domain, and answering this question is not possible. Another question was, please guide me for publication in arts, humanities, and communication skills. You can refer the Arts and Humanities Citation Index. Just in Google, type Arts and Humanities Citation Index. You will get various journals listed under Art and Humanities Citation Index. And for communication skill, in our first session, we had given you the list of several databases for communication skill. Just go through that database and you will get those publications. Third question is, why haven't you spoke about Thomson Router? Sir, Thomson Router is just an agency. It is an organization. Similar to Thomson Router, there are many other organizations such as Emerald, such as Taylor and Francis, such as Sage. I did not talk about any of this publication house. I just talk about the journals that they have. And sir, for your information, Thomson Router has a journal list which is very popularly known as Web of Science. So we talk about Web of Science, and when we talk about Web of Science, indirectly we talk about the publisher of Web of Science, that is Thomson Router. But I did not name any of the journal house such as Thomson Router or Sage Publication or Emerald or elsewhere. That's why I did not spoke about the Thomson Router. Sir, please explain how to search publishers and how to do the publication of an article. I suppose you asked this question on day one, how to publish my paper. I assume that you got your answer in day two when we explain you entirely how to prepare the research article and publish it. Another question was, please suggest some Scopus indexing journal for English literature and language. This is one of the journal I am putting up in front of you. There are at least 4 Scopus journals for English literature, exclusively for English literature. This is the best journal according to me, and that is Studies in a Literature Review, English Literature. This is the best journal. Still, if you want to get the idea about the other journals, I request you, in Google search SCI Mago, SCIMAGO. Search SCI Mago, click it. SCI Mago is nothing but, it's a search engine for Scopus. When you click that, you will get the home page having a box where you can search for any topic, and in that search box, you just enter English literature. Press enter, you will get all the journals available with Scopus. Next question was, how many number of citations in a year are considered to be a good research paper? Sorry, there is no specific answer for this question, that if you have 100 citation, it is good. If you have 150 citation, it is good. If you have 30 citation, it is good. No, it changes from field to field. If I talk about several journals which are working in a digital media field nowadays, even 500 citations are not a good citations. And if any journal is working in the field of supply chain management, probably 50 citations are a good citations, because supply chain is a very old topic. Digital media is a very new topic. So it depends upon your particular area. However, there is no specific answer for this question. Other question was how to get such literature review based paper for our related topic. You can get it from Google Scholar. Google Scholar is the best search engine. You click on Google Scholar, you type your topic, literature review paper on supply chain management, right? And Google will show you several literature review paper. Google will show everything. It will show good quality, it will show average quality, it will show weak quality. What we need to do is, after getting those Google's answer, we need to check whether the journal is with a Scopus, Web of Science or not. Okay. Another question is, how many papers are enough to write literature review? I got 35 paper. Would it be enough? Again, there is no specific answer for this question that 35 papers are enough or not. But yes, a good systematic literature review should include as many papers of your topic as you can. Probably, I don't know from which field you asked this question, but according to me, 35 is a very less number, very less number. Normally, literature review paper includes 60, 70, hundreds, 200s kind of number of papers, and that too from a very good journal. So 35 seems a low number for me. However, I am not sure whether you are from some very recent you are talking about some recent topic, or you are talking about some old topics. Hence, answer is your other literature review paper of your topic would be a best judge. Next is, what is a search engine for LR related paper? Google Scholar. Next question is, suggest some books for literature review to understand in depth in PhD work of English literature. One more common suggestions, not for this question, but for everybody. Books on literature review is something which is not a good idea. Reason is because with a passage of time, your literature improves. Now, if I write, even if I am a writer of a book, if I write my book in 1980s, even if I will come up with addition, still I cannot keep everything updated in my book. So the best idea is to refer journals and research articles and not to refer the books, right? So this is for common. Try to avoid books on literature review, rather read more and more articles and papers on literature review. Could you please, another question was, could you please suggest me to begin with a good research guidance book? My question is again the same. If you talk about research design or something, there are many books available. I cannot name any one single book over here, as it is again a public platform. But there are many books. Refer the curriculum of a good university in the world, and most of the university are having the research or research design as a part of their curriculum, and which book they are referring, just do refer those books. Okay, if you could guide me on good research database. I started with those. I think whosoever has asked this question might have not attended the first session, because we talked about several databases. Even in the second session, we talked about several good research databases. Topmost is FT50. Then you can have a Web of Science. Then you can have ABDC. Then you can have Scopus. Then you can have UGC's database, journal list. Then you can have Google Scholar. There are many. Okay, can you suggest me some database for design field by the way you have mentioned Agricola IEEE? Sorry, I am not from the field of design, and frankly speaking, I don't have answer for your question. I'm extremely sorry for it. Please suggest one good book for doing literature review. I already answered. Don't refer books as far as possible. Try to refer papers. Papers will give you the better idea. So these are all questions for sourcing, how to collect the the literature. Now about how to read the literature, reviewing. So the question is it often suggested that you should be clear for your goal? How far it is true? It is 100% true. Without goal, you cannot work properly. Please explain with example the cross-disciplinary approach to research gap in the field of education. Sorry, again, I am not from the field of education. Still, I can suggest you one or two. Please don't consider this as the final wordings and try and jump into that topic. No. Still, I suggest you, I mean, in education field, you can cross multiply it with satisfaction, I mean, student satisfaction towards the use of this video conferencing platform, right? So that could be, again, you club two aspects, one digital media, another one is your education. So this kind of cross-disciplinary approach you can take up. Best way is you read something more, you will get your answer. Okay, the same question is repeated, sorry. Next question is, please throw more light on research gap if we are doing research in India and many nearby papers we have received, we have got. Okay, to throw light on research gap, I mean, every area, every field has their own research gap. Best way to identify the research gap is read more and more. Unfortunate part is that we don't like to read more. We just read few papers. I mean, please don't take me wrong if you're reading more. But most of the time, what I experience is we read only a few papers, and just by reading a few papers, we just try to find out the research gap, feeling like, wow, this study has not been conducted in India. Sometime if we found that a study is already conducted in India, we again go back, we again lower down ourselves. Oh, wow, this study is not conducted in Andhra. Then again, we found some paper which shows that a study is conducted in Andhra. We again go back. Oh, wow, this study is not conducted in Vijayawada. Right. This is not the way we should find out the research gap. This is a worst way to find out the research gap. Don't find out your research gap based upon the locations, right? Then again, from Vijayawada to some of the area of Vijayawada, you can take it up. No, don't do like that. Try to find out the cross-disciplinary approach for your research if you really wanted to go for the quality research. Okay, now the next question was, I belong to the Department of Literature. Can you please guide me how to do the literature review? Sir, madam, whosoever has asked this question, doing the literature review, I mean, the process of literature review remains same, whether you are from English, from design, from commerce, from management, from engineering, from chemical, or from physics, right? Literature review process is same for all. So there is no specific separate literature review process been designed for the Department of English. Correct. So whatever the literature review process we had explained to you, you go ahead with all those steps. But yes, for you, your literature would be from the English literature. Your literature would be, I mean, if I'm from chemistry, my literature would be from chemical department, chemistry. If I'm from engineering, if I'm from management, my literature would be towards management, right? But there is no separate process for literature review. Next question was, can you please suggest titles to be covered while reviewing the literature for the study? Once the idea is received, like you showed in Excel, it can help for further study. So kindly share the details to be covered while reviewing the literature. Again, to answer this question, whatever Excel sheet I have already shared with you, whatever the titles been given in Excel sheet, the headings of Excel sheet, these are my own titles, I mean, my own thinking for my own study. I mean, my colleague has prepared it for her own study. You can design your Excel sheet, you can add a few more titles, you can remove the titles based upon the area of your interest and research. Another questions for reviewing were, please tell me more about how to identify the research gap. Only one aspect to identify a good quality research gap is read more and more. That's the only way to identify the research gap. There is no rocket science, or there is no watertight compartment that if you read 35 papers or 45 papers or 55 papers and you will get your research gap. Sorry, boss, it is not so. Now, how to identify the variables from literature review for model building? It's a very simple and straightforward. Most of the time, those variables are listed in your papers clearly, either in form of a table or in form of a theory. Pick up one by one all those variables. And whenever you are preparing your Excel sheet, mention those variable in your Excel sheet. Variable number 1, what was the name of variable 1? What was the name of variable 2? What was the name of variable 3? And which all variables are available with those literature review papers for building the model. How to next question is how to propose to the model on the basis of literature review. If you complete your literature review gives you some idea about relationship. Say for example, I am taking a very simple layman example, right? Say for example, a good quality delivery leads to satisfaction of customers. Customer satisfaction leads to repeat purchase. Repeat purchase leads to customer loyalty. And customer loyalty leads to word of mouth. Now, I put up 5 parameters, starting with good quality delivery. Good quality delivery leads to, now, whatever I'm speaking, good quality delivery leads to customer satisfaction. Now, this is what, it is just my understanding. Sorry. Develop such understanding from your literature review. Find those literature review which propose that yes, a good quality delivery leads to customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction leads to repeat purchase. Repeat purchase leads to customer loyalty, and customer loyalty leads to word of mouth. Find out those literature papers and establish this relationship. That will help you to build the model. Next question is how to go about this SRAM model if the relationship between construct that are being researched on has not been explored previously. That is whether this research is novel or not. Just for your understanding, I mean for the understanding of the whole participants, SRAM is my copyright model, and this is not any model like any other model of your statistics. This is not a statistical model, and sorry, but there is nothing to find out the relationship and all. Whether this model is novel or not, you participant decides whether this model is really a novel or not a novel model. If limitation of the research paper state that it has considered only some dependent variable, further studies can add additional factors or independent variable in the model, can it be taken as a gap? Yeah, you can take it as a research gap and you can move ahead with your topic. Okay, so this is all about reviewing. Now we are moving towards articulating, writing research paper, that we call it as articulating. And these are some of the questions for articulating. Starting with the first question, correct method of writing literature review in thesis. Could you explain little more? Which is a correct method of writing the literature review in the thesis chapter? This is what I understood by this question. For thesis, you can very well use those method of time, wherein in introduction session, you start with very old paper of theories that you can put it up. Then you can put up some of the recent papers that will help you to find out the research gap. And at the end of this literature review chapter, you can very well put some of the paper of statistics. I mean, suppose Heron Black's paper of statistics or the Cronbach's paper for statistics, which will show that these are the methods I am going to use for my thesis going forward. Okay, so that is the method of writing the literature review chapter. Correct method of writing literature review in thesis as well as research paper. So this question has a thesis plus research paper. For research paper, I am more clear. If you refer the PPTs of manuscripting, it will give you a very clear-cut idea that if you start writing a paper on manuscript, we have divided the manuscript paper into 5 different parts. And under each part, what should be explained? First part was to explain, I mean, how you have refined your literature. If you remember, somebody has started, I forgot the name of the author, but somebody has started with 784 literature and ends at around some 80, 84 literature. So this is a refining stage. Similar to the I'm sorry for disturbance. Yeah, so yeah, what I was talking about is we were discussing about, we were discussing about the second question. What is the correct method of writing literature review thesis? I mean, literature review chapter in thesis as well as research paper. Literature review thesis, I've already answered in first question. To write the research paper on literature review, this is an art, and it really requires some practice. But we had clearly explained, if you refer the manuscripting PPT of manuscripting, then we have clearly mentioned that in your literature review paper, in your literature review manuscript, what are 5 different sections, and in each sections, how you should write or what you should refer under those things. So I request you to please refer that manuscripting PPTs again. Next question was, what is P41 in citation? It is page number. Next question was, what are the standard templates? The question was only this much. What are the standard templates? So I assume that you are talking about writing the literature review templates, right? So there is no standard templates to write down the literature review. And this is even what we have explained you during the manuscripting session as well. That these are not standard templates. We have a clear-cut standard templates for writing the research paper. Our normal standard templates include start with introduction, then literature review, then research methodology, then analysis part, data collection and analysis, and then after conclusion and interpretation. This is a standard template for normal research paper. If you try to find out such a standard templates for writing the literature review, you will not get. There is no such a standard templates for writing such literature review, and that's why you are required to refer those PPTs again and again when you write the literature review. Please elaborate upon the empirical analysis and empirical study, and also meta-analysis and where it can be used. Empirical analysis, empirical studies, these are data-based study. I mean, data-driven study. Data-driven study, I mean, suppose I believe that a good quality delivery leads to customer satisfaction. Though I received these answers, though I received this relationship based on my past literature, I want to establish, I want to repeat, or I want to check whether this is happening in Indian context or not. Is this happen in India or not? So what I do, I will collect the data about the good quality, and I will collect the data about the customer satisfaction, and then I will apply some statistical tools, several tests, TX, T-test, Z-test, ANOVA, various other multiple analysis, multivariate analysis. So all sort of analysis which we used to establish this relationship, and that is called empirical analysis and empirical studies. Another question is on meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is also a statistical tool, statistical method, but it is the statistical method applied only for literature review, right? There are some statistical software like Statistica and many others available in the world, which will help you for meta-analysis. However, honestly speaking, I don't have a good grip over meta-analysis, so I am not the expert to talk more on meta-analysis, but I have a little understanding about meta-analysis, and it is that meta-analysis identify the correlation between two variables from literature review papers, and there are some statistics applied like kappa T and all on those statistical analysis part, right? But still, as I said, I am not the expert, honestly speaking. You can refer this meta-analysis aspects from some other speaker who are the authority of the subject. Which methodology we have to prefer for commerce? Again, there is. Again, there is no specific methodology for commerce or English literature or any other stream. I already answered this question. How can I improve the citations? Find a good quality paper that improves your citation. A very simple answer. Which method should be used for research paper on the basis of past literature review? There is no specific method to be used for literature paper because there is no standard templates. Read the past literature, it will give you an idea what to do. Okay. Sir, for English literature and language, which method is applicable? I already answered. There is no specific template, standards, or methods applicable for particular stream. Which statistical tool can be used for manuscripting the literature review paper? This question is about meta-analysis. Yes, meta-analysis is a statistical tool for manuscripting literature review. But as I said, I am not the authority on it. It refers correlation matrices. And there are software called Statistica and all, which will help you for meta-analysis. You can very well connect to some authority on meta-analysis. Can both type of parentheses can be used in combination of thesis? Yeah, you can use the combination of both the types. There is no specific what you can say limitation for it. Is it necessary to put page numbers? It is not necessary to put the page number in citation, but it is necessary to put the page number in reference. Citation, I mean, when you are writing the content of the chapter, there is not necessary to put the page number unless and until it is the requirement of the journal where you are planning to publish, or it is a requirement of your university to write the citations in that fashion. Otherwise, it is not necessary. How to deduct a good and crisp literature review for a research paper from thesis? From a thesis. Theses are not excellent for literature review. If you really want a good and crisp literature review, best way is to find the LR paper, literature review paper from your own stream, from your own discipline, right? From theses are not meant for literature review. Theses are meant to study relationship between two or more variables, right? So let's understand the objective. Those who write thesis, their objectives are different. And that's why you are trying to find out something from a different country altogether. Don't do it. Try to find it out from the literature review papers. The next question is, though not the part of this, but thesis development also utilize literature review. How to use it effectively? Hypothesis development is simply based upon your research gap, and research gap is simply based upon your LR. So surely your LR creates your literature, your literature review creates your research gap, and research gap formalize your research objective, and research objective formalize your hypothesis. So there is a clear-cut one-to-one relationship between them. Can you guide me for design-oriented thesis where facts are less and more work is hypothesis only? How can we create the methodology for it then? Again, I am not from the field of design, so I'm not the expert. See, my objective is not to give you the idea about the design field or literature field or commerce field or management field. My idea is to give you an idea that how to read literature, how to collect literature from your field, whichever field you are in, how to read literature, how to write literature, and how to write the literature review research papers. That is what the objective was. Sorry to answer this question. I am not from the field of design. Probably some professors from the field of design would betterly guide you on this topic. Can explain more about citation and reference. Citation and reference are two different things. Citation means whatever you write in the main body of the paper or thesis, that is called a citation. And references are bibliography. Normally, we write it at the end of the entire thesis or at the end of the research paper. They are called reference. References are lengthy, include each and every small aspect. Citations are small in nature, but citations at least ensure that we give a due credits. We provide a due credits to the original author for their work. Can we write literature review on abstract and conclusion? Sorry, but you should not simply read the abstract and conclusion and write the literature review. You should read the entire paper because somebody has put up lots of effort in writing those. So at least read the paper, At least, though not all the papers, at least read some good quality papers from your field, and then you should write the literature review. Another question list includes, are there ways to define the theme of literature review? Yeah, there is. We have already shown you two different themes. One is Cooper's taxonomy, other is Webson and Watson's 2002 themes for literature review. Would that be a plagiarism if the exact line is taken from research paper and would be added with a citation? Yes, it is still a plagiarism. Even if you take up the exact line, though you add the citation at the end of that line, it is a plagiarism. What you should do is you should read it, you should paraphrase. Paraphrasing means you should write in your own language without changing the context of it. That is what is not considered as plagiarism, otherwise it is a plagiarism. Is bibliometric data actually relevant and desired to be reported on systematic literature review? Bibliometric data is a data set, right? And ultimately bibliometric data set is also including the several journals only. So whether you consider those bibliometric data or you don't consider, that is all up to you, but ultimately you are referring the journal and a research paper only. Can the same paper be cited for multiple times? Yeah, you can. Simple answer is yes, you can. Can that paper be also used in literature review chapter of the thesis? Yes, it can be used. You can use it for L number of time. No, nothing to worry about. Suppose I have referred one research paper. I am using the LR. I am using it in LR chapter. Can we use the same paper in finding another part? Yeah, you can use it. I mean, all three questions are similar. You can use that. Is meta-analysis a part of LR manuscript? There are two types of LR manuscript. One which is not using any statistics. We call it meta synthesis. And in this entire duration of this webinar, we focus only on meta synthesis. So if you are writing LR manuscript on meta synthesis part, there is no need for analyzing anything. But if you think of applying meta-analysis and write literature review, you can have it. So these are two different types of LR manuscript. You can use either of based upon your area of interest. What if I write the same line given on the paper and put the name of the research in the bracket? Would it be count as plagiarism too? Yes, it would be. Next question is, while writing LR paper, we come across problem of citing an idea that has already been cited by author in his paper. Means author B has taken the idea from author A and cited in his paper. Now how we will cite the same in our paper? Should we cite A? Should we cite B? Or what to do? Very good question. This we call it as a cross-referencing. This terminology is known as, this question is known as a cross-referencing. When you go for cross-referencing, the best idea is cite author A. Still, if you found that author B has made a significant contribution in developing the idea of author A, suppose author A has defined supply chain management, author B has changed the definition in significant way, then in that case you should cite both the authors. But if you found that author B has simply written that A has defined supply chain management and B has simply taken that definition of supply chain management, did not do any contribution to it, then don't cite B, only cite the original author A. I hope I answered your question. Next question was, can you focus on how to write citations and bibliography in Word file by managing the sources? In Word file, you can write it using the there is a session, there is a facility available in Word called bibliography or sources. I personally feel that not to use more on the technology part, because at the end, my personal experience is that it plays some time and it will not put you, it will put you in a trouble. So best way of writing this, preparing the references is do it manually. This is my suggestion. Otherwise, definitely you can use Mendeley or any other EndNote, Mendeley. These kind of softwares are available, but I generally do not prefer those softwares. A research area where qualitative research is required as a field of research is recent, and very few journal papers are available. Lots of review has been taken from a small web series. So what will be the credibility of such reviews and how to cite those articles? Frankly speaking, the qualitative research has a different domain altogether and generally been used for build up the theories. These are morely theory builder or case study based researches. And generally, to reach to that level, you require a huge experience, because the biggest problem with the qualitative research is the biasness of the researcher. Researcher become biased towards certain things. Say, for example, don't take it on a personal note. Say, for example, I am biased towards the present party having their authority in center, right? And if I'm biased towards one of the person of that present party, I mean political party in center, and because I am biased, I will only read those articles which will say goody goody about those political party. I will not read, I will not cite those articles and papers which criticize them. So that's the problem with quality research. And that's why to have a quality research, you require the best of your understanding and unbiasedness. So these were about the third phase, and now moving on to the fourth, manuscripting phase. Some questions for manuscripting. Can you help us to pave the process of writing systematic literature review based on the management papers for any reputed journal? I have already did that. If you refer all 4 PPTs, you will get the answer of this question. Sir, can we write our research paper only on the basis of review past research paper without any data tool statistical analysis? Yes, you can very well. You can very well write that paper, and that paper are known as literature review papers, and such papers are available, very well available. Which method should be used to write research paper on the basis of past literature review in the field of management study? Again, no specific method. I have already answered this question. Is it necessary to use statistical tool? Without using a statistical tool, can't we write research paper? You can write a literature review paper. There is no need for any statistical tool. And I have already shared you some research paper yesterday. Just refer those research paper. There is no single statistical tool, and these all are either FT50 or ABDC or Scopus papers. Decide the types of literature review manuscript. I have already explained that in my PPTs. Can you please throw more light on manuscript with live example? Yesterday we shared with you 1 manuscript, each from finance, marketing, ethics, supply chain, strategic management, etc. So that by reading those, I mean, you can read any one which is of your area. By reading those, you will come to know more about how to write. Manuscript stands for how to write literature review paper, LR paper. So you will get a better idea how to write LR paper in your own field. And these are only the samples. You just click it on Google Scholar and type it literature review manuscript or literature review paper on any topic, and you will get that almost. How to write an ideal research article, and what are the points should be considered in writing the research articles. I'm extremely sorry, but this is not the webinar where we are talking about research articles. So I just escape from these questions and move on to the next question. Next question is, if we are writing research paper based completely on literature review, will we follow same model or any other things are to be kept in mind? Sir, this model is, as I said, it is a copyright model of, I mean, this is my copyright model. You can very well follow this model, as well as my best understanding and my best advice to you is simply please do not rely 100% on my model. You can very well find out some other model, mix 2-3 different models, have a mix merge and find out even better model than this SRAM model. You can very well do that things. And now moving on to the other questions. These are the questions which I could not bifurcate in any of these early 4 points. But these are still the questions being asked by many of you. I just put it up, try to answer those questions if I can. Okay, so can you focus on how to decide the title of research paper or thesis? I'm so sorry, but I cannot decide the title for your research paper or your thesis. You and your guide are the best judge for it, right? So do take the help from your guide, because I don't know from which field you are. I don't know, even if you tell me that, sir, I am from HR. I mean, HR, there are hundreds and thousands of theories, correct? So how can I decide? a title for research paper or thesis for you, your guide would be the best judge. How literature review can be useful in case of pure conceptual paper. Sir, madam, whosoever has asked this question, my first understanding says avoid writing conceptual paper, pure conceptual paper, unless and until you become the master of that field. And being the master of the field means sparing lots of time and knowing everything minutely, unbiasedly. Because the biggest problem with conceptual paper is biasness, and those biasness would not lead to a good publications. A good publication house would not easily accept the conceptual papers or a theory builder papers, right? You require to have a very in-depth understanding. So, but still, if you feel like you have a very good in-depth understanding about the conceptual paper, you can write it. Literature review would be same even for conceptual, whether it is a conceptual paper or a normal paper. Methodology is same for literature review. What is the quantitative and qualitative data? I think it is a very simple question. The data with numerical values are quantitative, rest are qualitative. Explain the basic difference between systematic review and literature review. Most of the time, whatever we are doing without understanding the system, without understanding the steps, we pick up the paper, we read it, we write something, we pick up the next paper, we read it, we write something. We don't understand why we pick up the paper, we don't understand what we write, we don't understand why we write. So if we are doing that, it's a literature review. If you are doing it systematically, step by step, the way we try to explain, if we are doing it, it is a systematic literature review. That's the difference. And how can we use the quali data in research paper or thesis? Are there any statistical method for it? Yeah. There is a method to use the quali data in your research paper, and even there are some statistics for quali data. As I said, it is kappa T and all methods. You just Google it. Again, I am not the man from that meta-analysis part, but yes, there are methods to quantify the quali data. One of the very popular amongst them is a kappa T, K-A-P-P-A. Kappa T's method is the quali method. Sorry, is a statistical method for qualitative data. Right. So these are all the questions that you all participant has asked during this 2 days webinar. Now I am opening the forum for any more questions. I mean, if you feel like your questions is not answered or not answered properly, or if you have a question which is over and above this, you now the forum is open. You can ask the questions. You can unmute your voice and ask the questions. Thank you. Go on. Yeah, you can ask the question. Anybody can ask the question, please.
Hello, sir.
You can unmute.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. I am Dr. Prabhakar MC from Karnataka. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, Prabhakar Babu, you can ask the question, please. Please go ahead.
Sir, what about the self-citations?
You can have it. Yeah, I understood. You can have a self-citation, sir. There is nothing wrong about it. Right? Okay. Taking the credit of our own work is nothing, nothing bad. You can very well. And rather, I always advise all my participants, in your research paper, if you are moving in the same area, if you are working on the same area, you must self-cite. You must self-cite. There is nothing wrong about it.
Is it nothing affect our total citations?
No, sir. Nothing like that, sir. Nothing at all.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to add to Prabhakar Babu sir's question. Sir, can we do a literature review of all one paper?
Sorry, I did not get your question. Can we do the literature review of
our one paper?
Yeah, it is self-citation. But yes, I mean, don't write a literature review paper on only your papers only, right?
Okay, no, 1 or 2 papers.
Yeah, self-citation, definitely, you should. Rather, you should. I mean, I answer it in sense that you should. Okay. I think self is nothing wrong. It is my own work. Who praise my work if I don't praise my work?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, this is Dr. Jyotsna from Patiala, Punjab.
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Yesterday in session, you said ki we should avoid writing the self-opinion in literature review. We should
Yes,
not
ma'am.
too much express ourselves, and or in case we should support it. So what is the actually? I just worry ki if this is our own work, we should have the freedom to express what we feel, right? So which chapter is the part of our self-expression? It is findings. It is introduction of where should we then put our opinion in case we want to support some finding or yeah, result.
Okay, ma'am, my statement was we should not have our own opinion.
Hmm.
It is in context with we should not have our own free opinion. Free opinion, I mean to say, my opinion which is not supported by any literature or supported by any statistical tool or any data. Such opinion has no work in the field of academic writings. Right. However, if my opinion, my suggestions, or my thinking are supported by existing literature or supported by some data, it has its value. Correct.
All right. In case we have come across during our data collection some opinions, then we can put that thing into our work, right?
Yes, ma'am. It should have some support.
Hello.
Yeah, it should have some support. Either
Hello.
support. Hello, I can hear you. Hello. Then it
Right.
should have some support. Either the support from statistical tool or should have a support
Right.
from what you can say literature review, earlier literature. So support
Okay.
is
Second
essential.
question.
Yeah, please.
All right. Thank you, sir. Second question is this: like, there are two types in which we can do our write our literature review. One is the standard which we used to follow, like citations, like Hiren in 2019 in his study, right? Second is parenthesis. So, what if we go for the blend of both? Will it work, or we should stick to only one type?
No, no, no. I already answered. You can use both of them, ma'am.
All right. Third and last question is that we have come across, with due respect to every author,
Hmm.
when we review some good standard papers, right? There are
Correct.
many even simple papers just explaining descriptives and simple percentages, but they're published in good journals, right? But there are quality of paper, like I've come across many work, many teachers' work, they have good papers, but it come up with some suggestion or they didn't get published, although they have used some more good techniques than a simpler one. So, what is the underlying difference where a researcher or author should make out so that his simple or work can be published in a good journal? You must have
Uh,
read many good papers, but they are not a part of the standard journals.
Ma'am, generally, the webinar like this, having the objective of enlightening the participants to not
Hmm.
only write a quality things, but also publish it with a quality journals. Unless
Hmm.
and until your unless and until your work is published with a quality journal, people
Hmm.
do not value you. Let me give you an example,
Exactly.
ma'am. Albert
Right.
Einstein. Einstein has written his theory of relativity, right,
Right.
somewhere in the year of 1908. However,
Right.
his guide was not feeling that his work is any more authentic work or any more contributing work in the field of physics. The theory was
Hmm.
not published till 1940. So he took 6 years. He took 6 years to publish his theory. And once he gets published in 1914 in a good quality journal of science, then after the world world start
Recognize
understanding
it.
what
Right.
is the work of the Einstein. So the same thing happens with many of us. If it is not
Hmm.
published with good quality journals, people won't cite it. So the best part is if we come across any good author who used to write and who used to analyze the things in a better, smart way, it is
Right.
our holistic duty to ask him to publish with a good quality journals, and that is what is been accepted. Now, answering to
Very
your
good. Thanks for
yeah.
the
Now,
idea.
answering to your question, what is the underline? I mean, should we consider their work or not?
Hmm.
Yes, definitely we should consider their work, their theories.
Hmm.
We should cite them. We should take care. because ultimately by citing them, we are helping to develop the entire community of researchers representing not only our country, but the entire community of our country on world's
Right.
platform. So you should, ma'am. You should, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Another question, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you go to the Scopus author profile in Scopus,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I can't find my all publications.
Sir, you write one email to Scopus, they will add it. They will ask for
Okay.
some. They will ask for some proofs that you
Okay.
are the same author and these are your papers. But your
Okay.
paper has to be published with Scopus journal. Huh? Any local
Ah.
your any
No,
publication with local journal would not be counted as a Scopus publication.
no, sir. I have published in Springer biometals like that, but it is not in the Scopus.
Sir, please don't take me wrong. But even if the journal is a Springer journal, or even if a journal is with a web, Taylor and Francis, or sometime with a Sage, despite
Okay.
there is all possibility that the journal could not be the Scopus listed. So first, please ensure that the journal in which you have, published your paper as Scopus listed or not. If it is with a Scopus list, you can very well write it to Scopus, and the Scopus team will help you out to update your profile. They will ask for some of the proofs, but after proof
Okay.
they will add you, sir. Please.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. I do have a question.
Please.
Actually, if like we are planning to write a paper on a particular area which is relatively new and has got limited literature till now, maybe let's say 25 to 30 papers or something. So, is it possible to write a systematic literature review based paper on that, or if it is possible, then how to take it forward?
Okay. I don't know in which area you are trying to work with, but my personal opinion says,
Artificial intelligence and human resource management. So,
ma'am,
this is a broad area.
ma'am,
Huh.
there are 1,000 plus paper available with use of AI in HR. Right. More than 1,000 papers are available.
But
So
I
what
could not find many by referring to Google Scholar. Sure.
I'll answer your question. Ma'am, you
Sure.
please refer FT50 journal list. Google
Okay.
FT50 journal list. In
Okay.
FT50 journal list, there are three journals of human resource field, HR field available. Out of 50
Okay.
journals, there were 3 journals.
Okay.
Open up all 3 journals one by one.
Okay.
See their homepage. See the several. I mean, refer the several issues, past issues, right?
Okay.
During
Okay.
last 4 years, and
Okay.
I can tell you these things with so much confidence because one of my colleague is working on the same topic, and he
Okay.
has already collected around 700 plus papers on artificial intelligence and HRM.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So because see what happens, unless
Yeah.
and until we have the first good paper in our hand, we
Right.
are actually not beginning the real search. So once you
Right.
get one research paper, put down that research paper, put up that
Okay.
research paper in Google Scholar, and then you will start getting the research paper of your field.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because see, I don't mind even if you write it for 30. I mean, even if you write your literature review paper, systematic literature review paper with 35 papers, I don't mind. But that will not
Okay.
have the acceptability in good journal. I hope you understand.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Prerna.
Thanks for giving this opportunity. Sir, my research area is related to qualitative case study based on waste management, textile waste management. So, yes, so sometimes I am, writing, I am at the end of the, writing phase. And while I write introduction and review literature part, there is overlapping. And there is always, this, doubt that what should I include in introduction part and the literature review part. So is there any, demarcations between both? First,
Prerna, frankly speaking, when we talk about case studies,
J.
case studies and literature review are very different. right? We are planning for one more webinar on measuring the quality of research. I mean, quantifying the quality of research. I will be putting up that brochure soon on your on our WhatsApp group. There we have explained 4 different types of academic publications. So in that 4 type, one of the type is case study, other type is literature review. So
Okay.
yeah, so case study has a very different way of presenting the literature. Reason being, you don't have any statistical data to support your analysis part, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Huh. So this is precisely why, while you are writing the literature review, focus only on what the other has what the other has covered, and while you are writing the conclusion of your chapter
Great.
or your thesis, put up your own analysis in a sense that by reading this 2025, I come to know that they had focus on this much, but however this focus, I mean this part is not being covered by them. So you have to be critical while you are analyzing those paper, especially if you're studying your PhD. I mean, if you're doing your PhD through case study.
Okay. Yes, I am doing that. And second question is, so there are, I have to collect a lot of information through web sources, which I asked earlier as well. So
Okay.
can I cite those, web sources?
Yeah, you can very well cite those web sources. I don't know which method of citations you are using, whether APA or MLA or Harvard or any other, but with every citation method, there is a provision to cite the web sources as well. So whichever
Yeah.
the methodology you are using for citation, please refer in Google. Please refer APA style of source. Suppose you are using a APA, so please
Yeah.
please check out what is the APA style of citing the web references. But you can.
So I have checked that I'm using APA style, but
Hmm.
my question is, if I write some paper for some good journal, so do they consider, web sources citation good or bad?
The consideration of web sources citation would depends on from which kind of, I mean, from which website you are collecting those data, right? If I talk, I don't know, I mean, you are talking about waste management, so there must be
Yes.
the best sites, websites for waste
True.
management in your field, right? So if you
Okay.
refer those websites, probably your data would be considered. I mean, probably that web sources would be considered. But if you are referring some local sites for
True.
those waste management, then the journal would not consider your paper. I mean, your sourcing, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Yes. Any more question? Any more question from audience? You can ask your question right now, because I am not able to read your messages. There are hundreds of messages with me, so I am not able to read those messages. It is better if you ask the questions. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I want to know that when we send any paper for publication, whether it is a reputed journal or what, before they do not have any charges mentioned on their website. But when we send the paper and after reviewing, they said that you need to pay this much of euros or this much of dollars. It has happened with me with InterScience. They were asking for some euros to pay. So what do we do in certain situation? Because our paper is already gone to them. Should we
Ma'am.
go for paid publication?
Ma'am, my personal opinion on this is, you should not, first of all, you should not enter into this kind of payments, right? Because any good quality journal always publish the paper at free of cost. Best way to do that thing is identify and send your paper only to ABDC or Web of Science database journals, because generally it happens with Scopus. Though it's a public platform, it has happened with few of my friends as well. That's why I'm speaking. Generally, it happens that in Scopus there are around 20-25% of the journals which are paid journals. 75% journals are free of cost. So
Yes, sir. So Scopus, with Scopus and InterScience, it has happened with me. They asked me.
InterScience, see, ma'am, InterScience is just the publication house. InterScience has their journals which are with Scopus. So I'm talking about Scopus database. But as of now, I never come across a single journal from ABDC or Web of Science. ABDC or Web of Science, Australian Business Deans Council or Web of Science Council, Web of Science. Thomson, it is a Web of Science is a Thomson Reuters list. So I did not find a single journal from these two databases which ever asked for the charges. They will never help. Right. So next time whenever you publish,
Hello,
whenever
sir.
you publish, you
Sir,
can,
this is Dr. Purvi Kothari from Surat. Sir, can you hear me?
yes, ma'am, I can. Please go ahead.
Sir, I have a question regarding plagiarism. Sir, can you throw some light? Because when our students also do their researches or different universities are using different software for plagiarism. So how do we run the test and find out the authenticity of our paper?
Okay, ma'am, to answer your question in a simple terms, plagiarism is, I mean, any software in the world for plagiarism, they consider the plagiarism only when two consecutive statements are taken from the same source. When you take the two consecutive statements from the same source, it is counted as a plagiarism. This is how the plagiarism software in entire world works, be it any plagiarism software we talk about. However, normally, in our normal university system, we don't have too many access with those plagiarism software. So there is a website. I will be putting up SEO tools. There is a website named as SEO tools. I will put the same on our WhatsApp group as well. So this is a website where you can check your plagiarism at free of cost. However, a limitation is 1,000 words. So your students or even we put down 1 or 2 paragraph, check it, make it 100% plagiarism free, and then any paper, I mean, send it to any journal, any university, right? I don't mean to say that they will have zero plagiarism. There may be some percentage of plagiarism because even when you run the software for plagiarism, it will ask us to set certain percentage. Okay. But yes, if you make your paper 100% plagiarism free from your side, paper or thesis, and send it to university or any journal, then at least your paper or your thesis would be within the considerable limit of those university or journal.
Okay, so because my PhD students' papers came 40% plagiarism and it was detecting even terms as commercial and banks and scheduled banks, all these were under plagiarism.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, use this SEO tool. It is highly acceptable in entire world, right? With a limitation of 1,000 words. I mean, you have to redo the. I mean, for 1 or 2 paragraph, and you have to put some efforts. But I'm sure after putting up that effort, you will make your paper.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Jyotsna again. I just want to ask that I have heard of this SEO tools and I have used it for twice, right? So I just wonder, is it safe to continue with such kind of software which are available online?
Yes, ma'am. Because as of now, no issues has been reported against SEO tools. There is a
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, this is Dr. Kiran Mani Tripathi. Hello, sir.
Yeah, let us
sir.
Kiran, if you can hold, may I continue with the question? If you can hold for a while.
Kiran, hold for a while. Yeah, I'm answering the question.
Jyotsna. Sir, I just want to continue that I have come across the same issue. Like I got paper published with Scopus and later on they asked for money. And after a few weeks, this get removed from the list. So here, I don't know.
Because ma'am, Scopus list revise every year, right? So if the journal is not following the norms of a Scopus, there is a very well chances that I mean in 2014 some journal was listed with Scopus. After 2 years that journal would be out, and precisely this has happened with all those journals which are asking for the charges, because Scopus also becoming very in their policies are also becoming very stringent and strict, and gradually they are removing those journals which are demanding for payment. So that's what I say, don't ever publish with a paid journal. That's it.
Now thank you, but there is a trend, I don't know why you people have heard of. There's a huge trend going across in Punjab region that yes, by in recruitment also, if you are scoop paper author with a Scopus index paper, right, you have a priority of getting a good post at a good
But ma'am,
right? At a
when
good
I
university.
don't say so. I mean, I don't say that it should not. Let it be. My only concern is don't pay for Scopus. That's it.
Right. But I mean, I just want to have another query, right? Paper like ABCD is of quite good standard, right? Web of Sciences you have discussed. Why it is only a rush in Indian community regarding Scopus? Why they don't talk of ABCD or what? I mean, this is my personal matlab, feeling
Ma'am,
which I have
just a
come
lack
across.
of
Just want a
lack
Scopus
of.
tag.
To answer your question, just lack of understanding and lack of knowledge. That's it.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, true. Thank you.
Thank
okay.
you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
morning,
doctor.
sir.
Yeah, Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. My first question comes as to when you're talking about literature review. The first thing comes, is there any limitation to Word? How much the entire write-up should be? Point one. Point number two, if I have to rewrite, because thoughts keeps pondering, it comes. So if I have to rewrite the same literature review again, is there any chance for that? And point number three, you spoke about conceptual writing. So if I have to write a paper on consciousness, where concepts does not matter anything. So can you throw light on these 3 points?
Okay. The answer for your first question is no. Second question was on
To
uh,
rewrite.
rewriting your own work. Unless
Yeah.
and until get published, you can rewrite. Even
Okay.
after publication, you can rewrite.
Mhm.
However, in academic committee, in academic council, if your rewriting is more than 65% of rewriting, I mean, if your original work and rewriting work has at least 65% difference, that would
Right.
be considered as a new write-up and can be
Right.
published as a separate paper.
Oh,
Till
great. That's
till
a great
then,
news.
till then, no. And your
Okay.
third question was on
The conceptual
conceptual writing,
application.
conceptual application.
Yes.
So, Doctor, very frankly speaking, I am not much in favor of conceptual paper.
Right.
Reason being, unless and until we reach to that level, we
Right.
are always biased towards certain aspects. And biasness is the biggest problem with conceptual papers.
Correct.
Right. So unless and until we reach that level, which I mean, in Maslow is considered to be the fifth
Right.
step if you're from management, right?
Right. Right.
Maslow has given the fifth stage of self-actualization. Unless and until
Correct.
we feel ourselves reach to that level, we
Right.
should not in academics go with that conceptual.
Right. And so the first one, that how much word limit do you prescribe when we are writing a literature review?
No, there is no such word limits unless and until journal has some page or word limits. For thesis
Okay.
paper, there is nothing like. Journal may have, because they have a limited space, journal may have some
Right.
word or page limits. Right?
Right. Right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very good morning, sir.
Let me-
I have a query.
Excuse me. Let me have Kiran Tripathi ji. She is in line since long. Kiran ji, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Every please. Yeah, Kiran.
Thank you,
please.
sir. I have two questions. First one is that you talked about science journals in Scopus Index, that they are free. Now I'm asking about English literature papers. Are they also free?
Yes,
And
ma'am. They
they
are
are
also.
also. And
Yes,
another question is that if they are removed from the Scopus journal that has been previously, they are considered as important or not worthy.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry, but if the journal is removed from the list, will not be considered as worthy anymore.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
Next question. Yeah, please go on.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Can you please explain how can we define the variables?
Sorry, I did not get you.
How can we define the variables? As we are explaining about variables,
How can we define the variables, and can you give some example?
Ma'am, actually, I cannot define the variable because I don't know on which area you are working. One. Second, defining variable is not the part of literature review chapter, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because there are millions and billions of variable in the world, correct?
Okay.
So you are the best judge of definition of the variable which you study.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Sir, very good morning. May I ask the
Go on.
question, sir?
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, sir,
Hello?
you explained to us the
Hello?
structuring of the
Sir,
LR manuscript. Hello, sir, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
go on. Yeah, Shikha, go on.
Yeah, you explained to us while structuring the LR manuscript, you in the synthesis phase, sir, kindly guide us like how to exhibit it. Like, should be it in the tabular form, like you explained to us classification and how the aggregation of LR should be done, the framework, for so just explain how we can present the synthesis phase in the paper.
Okay, let me show you that presentation, and through which we will, I'll guide you on that synthesis phase a little more.
Ji sir, ji sir.
Yeah, so this was, I suppose, wait a while, huh? Yeah, so this was a synthesis phase, I suppose.
Ji sir, ji.
I hope you can see that picture.
Absolutely.
Right. So this was a paper being written by me along with two of my PhD guide. And we, under that synthesis phase, we classify the paper. The first stage was, this is second stage. The first stage was, this is A. Just read it as A. The first stage was search and assessment phase. So there you identify all the papers, and out of identification, you reduce it down to some numbers. In this figure, the author has started with 714 papers and finally end up with 88. After this 88 papers, the next step is divide them in different zones, different areas. So this is the three-tier scheme that we have adopted. This is Cooper's taxonomy base. So we have adopted this three-tier scheme. So we divide all those papers scope-wise, methodology-wise, and focus-wise. Right.
Okay.
So synthesis phase includes distribution or classification of the paper into several methodological steps. Now, because we were writing the literature review on supply chain management, we referred several papers and we found that this is the best way. I don't know in which area you refer some good paper of your area, you will come to know how to synthesize, how to divide, how to classify those papers. So
this class
can vary from area to area.
So this classification can be exhibited in the final paper which we send for publication. Can we divide it into tabular form?
Yes. You refer this the same. I already sent the entire paper. The same paper I have already shared in full. Right.
Okay.
So you refer the supply chain management paper. Yesterday I sent you all the detail. Material.
So it will give a more structured.
Exactly. Idea.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah, Pooja.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have two questions. Sir, the first one is, sir, suppose on a particular topic we have good quality papers at international level, and as far as India is concerned, we papers but not in good quality journals. We cannot even search their scholars; they are available only in Google if we surf on Google. Should we take those papers?
Hello, your voice is not audible, Pooja.
Hello.
Yeah, please go on.
Hello, sir. Now I am audible.
Yeah, you are. Please go on.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible. Please.
Sir, suppose a topic. Suppose on a particular topic, there are quality papers available at international levels. But in India, there are not that good papers, but they are available in Google rather than scholars. I mean, they are listed in good quality journals.
should we consider those papers which are not of good quality, but those studies have been conducted with reference to India for finding out the research gap?
No, ma'am. I told you very clearly. If you really want to do a quality work, don't limit yourself only to some geographical area. I gave you an example. Na? Today you will be finding that whether the work has conducted in India or not. Then tomorrow you will find that whether the work is conducted in Punjab or not. Then the third day you will find that the work is conducted in Chandigarh or not. Don't do that thing.
Sir, so
If you really want a
so your
I
voice
said,
is not audible.
don't do. Yeah, please
Please
don't try
repeat,
to
sir.
find out the research
Yeah.
gap on geography. Right. Tomorrow hello, am I audible? Yeah. Today you are
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
that
sir.
this work is not conducted in India.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
That is true, sir. That is true, sir. You told us that we
Yes.
should not find out this gap
Yes.
on the basis of
And
okay.
okay.
Right.
And to answer your question
Should we
further,
quote those?
excuse me. To answer your
Yeah.
question further, who stop you to
Yes.
refer the international papers? I mean, we have every facility available, right? It is not like that we can refer only Indian papers. You can refer any papers, na? Any papers anywhere in the world.
Okay.
So why to limit yourself only to some country specific?
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, I have another
Quickly,
question.
please.
Sir, the question is related to whether we should write our introduction and analysis in present tense or in another tense. Introduction and analysis in present tense.
That depends upon if the theory is holding true even today, right? Say for example, if I talk about Cronbach
Okay.
alpha, for Cronbach alpha, it was true in
Okay.
1951. It is true in 2020 also. So if theory holds true in
Okay.
present terms, you should write in present. But if some work has already been carried out, so for such work you should write it in present. Sorry, in past tense. So it is a combination of present and past.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Please. Yeah, Nidhi Verma, please.